The modern family. Let us bridge the gap between generations. Let us shape up the modern family. The modern family. Join the discussion and give us your feedback. Live with Hatim Al-Abdussalam. The modern family.
I always thought about, and I just wanted to be there with you. The place that no eye has ever seen, the place that no heart has ever perceived. I had a great feeling inside of me that one day I'll be there with the God is pleased with us too.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. All praise be to Allah, the Lord of the heavens and the earth, and peace and blessings be upon our beloved Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. O Allah, grant us knowledge, wisdom and sincerity. Dear listeners, I'm your host Hatim Al-Abdussalam. I salute you all with the salutation of the people of paradise. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you all for tuning in to our program. Again, we have stopped in the period of the book festival that ended last week, and now we continue with our program starting from this week, from today. And today we have a honorable guest. We have tried so hard to get him, but finally, alhamdulillah, we managed to get him today. Our honorable guest is Professor Ahmed Muhammad Al-Nu'mani, who is the Dean of Modern College of Business and Science. Assalamu alaikum, Professor.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi
How are you?
wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah.
It's an honor to have you on the show today, and I'm very happy, and I'm sure me and the audience will benefit from today's topic, inshallah.
Thank you very much. I'm actually honored to be here. I think not you being honored to have me. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Professor, today we chose a particular topic that is related to your field, which is educational choices and career planning. Before we start into depth in the program, let us tell our listeners why this program is important. This particular title, why is it important?
Well, because we have a problem with a lot of youngsters who choose a particular field of study without knowing enough or not having enough courage or interest in the particular subject, just because they've been pushed by the family or the community at large. So this is becoming a problem. When the study becomes difficult, they tend not to be able to continue because they don't have the drive from within themselves with the interest to begin.
Then, Professor, how does one start to build interest for a particular career at a young age? Let us start maybe from school or maybe preschool. Well,
as a parent, one needs to teach his kids to dream and think how they would like to be and join, and as they join the adulthood, as they grow up, what do they want to be? And this should come within the kids themselves. They should experiment by thinking, I want to be a pilot, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a doctor. And then you ask them, and you develop those dreams. I want to be a technician, I want to be a mechanical, I want to build things, I want to help people. And then you find a career which fits with helping people. That way, you develop the dreams of your youngsters and wishes of your youngsters enough to entice and them to be able to to be able to sustain the challenges which will come as they grow up in this particular field.
Most of the time, parents, we want the best for our children, and we tend to choose the career for them, or sometimes the choices that our children make might not be suitable. We feel that it might not be suitable. So how do we break the news to them? How do we direct them to the right channels, or how do we help them dream in the right way?
You need to dream with them what are their wishes of life. That way you can go on, and as they grow up, they see the discussions and so on. You don't immediately tell them, no, don't take that. You go on, but if you take that, you will need to be able to do this, to be able to do this, are you interested in that? Do you have the capacity to do that? Will you be able to wake up in the night and go on to the hospitals because they're calling you to do what this?
Yes.
Will you be able to do this? All those issues should come up. as they discuss about the subject. And the decision should not be made immediately. They can take their time to grow up with that decision. And decide what is the best way to go.
Can this also be entertained when it comes to picking some of the subjects in school? Let's say if they go to the science stream or the art stream, then before them choosing these streams, you can sit with them and discuss with them and get to know what their interest and start at a very early age.
That's very important. Should the child go into the science stream or should go in the different stream? That's the decision one needs to take with the discussion with the kids based on what they have been discussing even earlier. What are their interests and what do they want to be and what are their interests and their capabilities? If the student is not really doesn't have the aptitude with math, and despite of all what you have worked very hard, you should not just surrender immediately. They don't like math, and then you say that these guys will not be able to grow up to like math. No, you should work with that. But as they grow up, and you find that despite of all what you have done to bring them up to the level, and they still don't like math, then you definitely don't want to put them into the science stream.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Professor Ahmed, when it comes to parents themselves, if they did not go through this counseling when they were younger, will this affect them counseling their children, or is it's a new trend, it's a new world, and the way we were raised, it's not necessarily the same that the way we are going to raise our children?
This is the question is probably should be asked to us, like yourself and myself. We have gone through this when our parents were not educated in the Western education.
Yeah.
And how would we be able to make decisions which we have made through our lives and achieve what we've achieved? In a sense, you ask the community at large. There are a lot of people to advise you.
Yes.
So before you decide you want to become an engineer, you want to meet with some engineers and ask them about what they are doing and how happy they are with their lives and what kind of environment they work in their daily life, and what are the packs, what are the opportunities to succeed and to grow up and to being promoted and so on as an engineer. So you discuss with these issues and what you have to study. And how difficult are those studies, or how easy are those studies, based on what capabilities, and so on and so forth. Then you make your decision whether you want to become an engineer or not to become an engineer.
You said something very, very important is what to study, because most of the time we find ourselves in the university or in the college, and we have a shock of the amount of studies or amount of subjects that we have to do, and the difficulties of these subjects. Maybe we thought if you have chosen a career, I don't know, maybe when you're younger, you feel that it's an easy thing, that in a few years' time I will be, for example, a pilot, and then that's it. I'll be there. But once you go through the process of getting from school to become a pilot, then it's a long process. There's hard work, there's struggle, there's difficulty, there's sometimes where you feel that you're desperate, you don't understand, you don't get to sleep. So all these are challenges, and I think it's a job of the parents to educate the children and counsel them and take them through so that they make the right choices in their family, in their career. Most of the parents, maybe most of the time, have not got the opportunity to become what they wanted to. But they have the opportunity to change this when it comes to their children.
Yes, indeed. As a matter of fact, one of the most important things we need to entrench or embed in our upbringing of our kids is the ethics of work ethics, the importance of working hard. And yes, life will be tough. Your studies, which is 2 years or 3 years or 4 years to get your bachelor's degree, for instance, you think 4 years will just go like that, but they won't go like that. They are hard 4 years, which means you need to be able to appreciate that I'm willing to work hard.
Professor Ahmed,
and I'm interested to work hard.
Professor Ahmed, why do you think that some students have the assumption that life is easy and things can go smoothly without any hardship.
I think as an academic, I blame media, the TV and you guys, radio people and so on. you push the idea that people just have achieved what they have achieved easily. So the kids are going out and saying that, why can't I just be successful without working hard?
Yeah.
That mentality is when the students see the big sports heroes, like the footballer, what's his name?
Messi.
Yes, and so on. They assume that guy just managed to be what he is without working hard. That guy worked very hard.
To reach where he is, yeah.
To build his capabilities, which has made him to be what he is. And that is not easy. Just he doesn't become a hero and the world recognize him all for a sudden for nothing.
Yeah.
They are working hard. And the youngster need to appreciate that. The people who are successful, it doesn't matter how you see them glamorous and so on, and TV and so on, they actually have worked hard to achieve what they have achieved.
What do you have to say, Professor Ahmed, to the people who believe, especially young ones, who believe that you shouldn't work hard, you should work smart? So you should look for shortcuts and you'll get there.
They need to show me who has been successful just by working smart. One of my sons has challenged me on that.
Yeah.
He told me, Dad, the people who have been really successful and become millionaires in the world are the people who failed in colleges.
Yes.
And they're quoting Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and so on and others. But that's not true. There are very few people who have managed to fail like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, and they end up to work even harder than the college work.
Yes.
To be successful where they are. And there are millions who have been very successful just by going through the college, and they have nice lives and nice careers in the world. Yeah. But show me how many of those who have failed in the college. I can tell you millions who have failed from the college and who have had a very tough life in the life.
Yeah.
So yes, you want to work smart, you can work smart, but also hard.
Yeah, because
in order to be successful. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, they have been successful because they work hard and they work smart.
Because after them being labeled as failures in the college, they had to prove wrong.
Exactly.
They had to work even extra hard.
Exactly.
To prove that they can do it.
Exactly.
Well, this is an interesting topic, and I'm sure your students are listening to you now, and they have a lot to say. Well, they're always welcome to call us and tell us what they think on 24602058. That's 24602058. Now, for sure, how can a parent contribute on these steps without over-influencing the child?
Well, it's very important that the parents support the child to build his or her interest and personality. The values have to be instilled in the child, the judgment, what is right, what is wrong. These are some of the issues which are important to build a better career. People can be successful in career, but then they lose it all purely just because they don't have sense of values. Also, the preference and habits, encouraging what are the good habits and what are the bad habits. The parent is entitled to make sure that this is part of the upbringing of the kids, but this is very important that the student or the child is embedded on it. Even if the parent is not around, the child understand that this is what I have to do and what I should not do. So it's self-driven.
You mentioned something very important, Professor Ahmed, which is values. It's not important to have successful people while they don't have values.
Exactly.
And nowadays, especially nowadays, we need people with strong values.
Yeah.
And strong values will get you somewhere and will gain you will gain the respect of the community and yourself. And it's part of the career that you have the values so that people entrust you with what they have. Otherwise, if you're successful and you have a good career, but you're not trustworthy, then nobody will employ you. Nobody will want to do business with you. Now, this point of setting the values, I think it's very important for the parents also to emphasize more on the value when it comes to career. So there are certain careers that might jeopardize your values, and that you might go wrong in these careers. So what is the role of the parents when it comes to this career? Do they entertain you because you want this particular career, or do they have to warn you and guide you to the right thing?
I have one of my daughter was chosen to become to get into medical field.
Yeah.
I told her that I would not be interested myself to be in the medical field. I don't know whether you should be. So I argued with her on these issues. The issue is that if she is not interested in dealing with people, caring of people, and if she's not interested to wake up in the night to go to somebody who's just complaining of headache, and she could have easily have used a Panadol, and you still don't need to talk nicely to the person because she doesn't know that, and you need to take care of that person. So I told my daughter, this is part of the values and responsibility of being a medical person. It's not just that you got an A's in your high schools and then all of a sudden now you can go and become
prescribe medicines only.
You go straight away into the medicine field and you go into the college and become a doctor, and then you feel that you're going to deal with them like mechanics. They're not mechanics, these are humans. And you should be really caring for the people if you're interested to become a medical doctor. So the values ought to be there. Similarly, in engineering, you can cut corners in engineering. What you need to do is to make sure that you have values in what you're trying to do, to make sure that you achieve what is required, and make sure that you don't you safeguard the lives of the people. So all these are responsibilities of the person who's trying to build up his career. Also, by the way, attitudes of the youngsters are very important. A parent should encourage positive attitude, taking risk, helpful of others, and self-confidence among the youngsters.
I want you to emphasize more and give more explanation. What do you mean by attitude? Now, for example, in the college, you have a lot of students. How would you rate the attitude of students coming to the college now?
I notice among the youngsters nowadays, they're more interested in showing off the kind of cars they drive, the kind of dressing they wear, and the way how they move, and so on and so forth. They're not more interested in on the actual what they're there to do in the college, and this is part of the attitudes. Okay, the attitude also comes. I'm coming to the college. You are the teacher. It's your responsibility to teach me. I'm here, just teach me. And they're pointing to their ears in a sense.
Spoon feeding.
You just spoon feed me, and once I'm fed, then you're a good teacher. If not, and then you're not a good teacher. If I don't get an A or B or C and survive in your course, then that means you're a bad teacher. Actually, the responsibility of learning ought to be from the student's point of view, student-centric. In a sense, the student owns the responsibility of learning. I'm here to learn. You're not going to leave the college, the classroom before I have understood what you have taught me.
Yes.
Okay? And then I'm coming to your office to clear up or whatever other things have remained which I still don't understand. That should be the obligation of the student. The present kids don't have that kind of drive and attitude of learning.
Tell me, Professor Ahmed, how was it like when you were in college? What was it like when you were in college in the olden days?
Well, that was my attitude in a sense. When I was in the college, first of all, I started studying in the college in America, and I was sure that me coming from Middle East, I'm not going to be able to survive in America. And I knew that the Americans are much smarter than me. That's what I thought.
Yes.
Okay, so I went into the classrooms with the attitude that the teacher is not going to leave until I have understood. If he's leaving, I'm going to go after him until he reaches his office.
Yes.
And I understood this and this and that. And of course, when the exams come, I was surprised that I was on the top of the class.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, that was the attitude which I had at the beginning, until I relaxed later on.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Now, there is another thing that I wanted to discuss with you, Professor Ahmed, is that some of the students come to the college for the sake of the bachelor degree or the diploma, so that they can get a decent job. They don't come there for the knowledge. Now, what's the difference between the student who comes to seek knowledge and the student who only comes because his parent assigned him to come to the college, or he got a scholarship from the government, or because he can't get a job without the degree? Then what is the difference between these two?
I would like to tell to those students,
Yeah.
they're probably not going to get the jobs out there. The jobs now are very competitive.
Yes.
People are not going to accept you just because you have studied while your parents are working hard. And then you come, you show me this certificate, and they expect that they're going to give you the job. They're going to interview. Nowadays, most of the places, they don't just employ people. They interview people.
Yes.
And when they interview you, they choose you because you are good. And if you are not there to study and work hard to make sure you learn what you're there studying there, you just manage to survive in easy, cheap colleges which are trying to give diploma meals and so on. You end up, when you go for the interviews, you're not going to be chosen. You have wasted your time in those 2 years or 3 years or 4 years of your studies because purely you have not learned. So the attitude like that is going to disappear in Oman in very few years. Because nowadays, when you go for the jobs, there is a competition. For every one job, there's at least 10 people, 15 people, or 20 people who are competing for that particular job. So definitely, if you're not good, you're not going to be chosen.
The thing that I fail to understand is that the students are still living this big bubble, knowing that I'm going to get the job in any way. But the reality is it's very competitive out there. There is no jobs and it's difficult, and only the best will win the job. But how come they're still in that sleep mood?
They are right. Every one of them will get jobs because the government is really pushing for them to get jobs. But will they get the best jobs? No. The best jobs will be taken by those who have worked hard, who have learned. Those who have just got certificates will get jobs. But which kind of jobs? The jobs which they're never going to like. They're going to be in situations and the jobs which they hate. Not with a good career plan, good career chance of promotion and so on. And by the way, in life, you just don't need job. You need to make sure that you have a job which is taking you up, and promotions and the chance of learning more and so on, and you have a career, not just a job. And most of these youngsters who are really going in easy kind of colleges, and the colleges which are just managing, or they just want to barely pass and go through, they are going to be really in shock because they're not going to like what they're going to be working on. I tell my kids, you have a choice. You can enjoy your life in this fast 4 years of the college. You can enjoy your life. But then after that, you work hard in a job which you don't like. Or you work hard now in these 4 years of your college.
And then you enjoy the
and
rest
then
of your
enjoy
life.
the rest of your life.
Yes.
Because you're working in a job which you like and which really is going to project your future.
I wouldn't want to blame only the students at this point of time. I would like to blame the parents as well, because most
And
of the
some
parents,
of us, the teachers also.
Huh?
Some of the
Yeah, and teachers. You'll tell us about the teachers. Parents enroll their children in colleges or universities, and they never ask about them. They never go back to the college and find out what's going on with my child. Is he studying? Is he attending? Is he doing good? Is he behaving? What's his attitude like? I remember when we were students, and my father we were studying abroad, and my father used to work in an airline, and he used to get the free tickets. And every after few months, we get a surprise visit, and we just find him at the airport. I'm here. And he goes to the college, and he asks about our performance, our attendance, and everything. And we felt, scared at the beginning, but we felt that he cared for our well-being. And he put us there for a reason. And we are there, we left our families because we want to achieve something. And alhamdulillah, we have gained the fruits, we have harvested the fruits of their care. But for parents now, it's just, we give a lot of trust to our children. We treat them as responsible adults, but at the same time, they are not acting as adults, the youngsters. So what can we tell the parents?
I think that's a very critical point. To our surprise, I've had some parents who have come to my college, not to talk about, can you tell me how successful are my students doing or how bad are they doing? You have parents coming and saying, my child has been failed in this particular course and she's lacking only 3 points. Why you as the dean don't give those 3 points and make them successful?
Charity.
So I've got that kind of parents who are pushing, instead of parents who come by and say, I would like to know and follow up on my kid's education, and can you tell me what else can I do on my side to make sure he's successful? You don't get those kind of parents, disappointingly. But what we're trying to do now is, in the modern college, what we're trying to do is we're having kind of reports every semester, which are going to the parents, which basically are going to tell them how many times the kids, for instance, has been absent, and how good or bad the students are doing as far as their grades are concerned. And those who are doing bad will ask their parents to come and meet with the dean, have a cup of coffee with the dean.
With the dean.
Yes.
Yes, that's great, I think. What about the lecturers, Professor Ahmed?
We do have, unfortunately, we need to be very cautious. Some students who shouldn't be passing are passing in many colleges or many higher education institutions in Oman, purely because we're lowering the barrier of passing. And in the end, we're producing youngsters who are not really capable for the market out there. So the academics needs to be really careful that they are not answering only to the government, to the institution's name which they are working in, but also to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that it's your responsibility to make sure this person can earn his living by the time they graduate.
How can we re-evaluate these standards, Professor Ahmed? How can we change this? Starting with the lecturers and the parents as well.
The Ministry of Higher Education is doing an excellent job. You have a directorate of private higher education institutions, which is really after us to making sure that we meet the standards and so on. There is also Oman Accreditation Board, which is doing an excellent job in making sure that the standards of education are up. Most of higher education institutions in Oman, they're going to be evaluated and either be accredited or not be accredited. And as a result of those poor institutions will be shaken to make sure either they get their act together and do well, or they're going to be closed. Yes.
Do you think, Professor Ahmed, that Oman has reached the standard in our institutions compared to our neighboring countries? Have we reached there comparing the standards?
We do have institutions here which have gone beyond our neighboring countries. They're doing excellent. Okay, but should we be complacent and be happy with our standards? No. No. We should be working hard continuously. In education, you just don't relax.
I don't want to be negative only. I want to be positive as well. I would like to hear about success stories of students who did well in college and their careers, and they made you proud of them. So are there any examples of students who are really determined, who really worked hard, and they made it out there, and they proved that they are there for the knowledge?
Yeah, I'm glad that some of my students today, I could say they're almost a millionaire, or if not millionaires already,
MashaAllah.
And purely because they've worked hard. And one of my students, who once he graduated and got an excellent job with a very good salary in one of the oil companies, I asked him, what did you do with your first salary? And he told me, surprisingly, that he bought the beds for his family.
Subhanallah.
The reason is because they never had beds.
Subhanallah.
Yes.
So, although he had a difficult environment, this is where I wanted to come.
Yes.
The difficult
He was
environment.
among the top of his class, and he got one of the best jobs in the world, you could say.
Subhanallah.
Yes.
Now, most of the time, some of the students would blame the environment they're in. maybe friends, maybe poverty, maybe parents, maybe they don't have the means to or resources for studying. Is this a barrier? Is this a challenge that can never be overcome?
No. There are students who are studying hardly with even light at home. There are students who don't even have proper 3 meals, and they still work hard and study.
And accelerate.
Yeah, accelerate. So there's no excuse why the student shouldn't work hard. I know one of my students who told me how his father died just as he's about to finish his high school and coming to university, Sultan Qaboos University. And at that time, the struggle between him and his mother to make sure that he continues, and the mother struggles and so on, you would think that he would have dropped the class. Although he's got a chance to study in SQU, he could easily have dropped and go and find a job in those days. But now he's among the top professors in Oman.
We'll continue with the story after the break of prayers, inshallah.
Thank you.
Radio 90.4 FM.
Our listeners, now it's time for a call to prayers. Adhan al-Isha, according to local timing of Muscat and its suburbs. Those who reside outside Muscat Governorate have to notice the difference in timing. Radio Sultanate of Oman.
The Modern Family. The Modern Family.
Welcome back, Professor Ahmed. We were just stopping at the story of our friend from SQU,
Thank you.
who his father passed away, and
Yes.
despite all the difficulties that he had, he still continued with his journey and became successful. Professor Ahmed, what is the price of success? What is a success? So to some students would say that I just get a normal job with a 500 Riyal salary, that's it, that's success to me. But how can we encourage our students that success is beyond that? There is more to success than this.
I think one needs not to look only for a job or salary. It needs to see that they manage somehow to build their career and their future. You have some students who come to me and tell me, I've left this job and I've gone to this job. Why? And they tell you, because I've got 100 Riyals more. But when you look at these two jobs, he moved from a job which is career, he moved to another job which is not going to be any getting chance of further promotion and growth in that, and he's moved into that job, but that job will not build him the chances of successful building his career. But he's got 100 Riyals more. That's not the right direction to go. So one needs to understand the importance of building one's career, one's future, and understanding that the job which you're taking can take you to where does it take you to?
Professor Ahmed, does the college get involved when it comes to choosing a career for the students? Let's say for the students who are in the final year of their bachelor degree and they are being approached by several companies for interviews, does the college help them out, advise them, counsel them in any way on what is suitable for them? The college knows the capability of that student, so they know better. Or is it left out to the parents to advise the student on which career is the best for him?
Well, for the college, we do have a counselor within the college. She is an excellent lady with a lot of experience, and she does advise most of our graduates. We also have somebody who is handling alumni, which helps in identifying the job opportunities and the interviews for the students. But we always wish we could do more. Also, by the way, most of the colleges don't get to the choice of the career, because the choice of career should also choose your discipline of study. That also has an impact on your career. Unfortunately, that's done at the high school level, and I don't know what is being done in high school to make sure that the students are advised correctly to choose what fields instead of another fields and so on.
Now, when it comes to employers, does the employers, do they approach you asking for specific quality of students, specifications of students, and then on that basis you train your students to become in a certain way?
Well, as far as the colleges are concerned, you do get only companies coming to you and telling you that we want this number of a particular discipline. This number of accountants, this number of business major, and so on for interviews.
But they don't come earlier.
They don't come earlier.
Like at the first year, second year.
However, we have taken a great leap with the modern college now. We have gone to, for instance, to MB Petroleum.
Yes.
And we've gone to them and said, excuse me, can you sponsor and supervise our petroleum engineering program? By advising us and telling us what should be in those programs from the beginning to the end, so that the students, when the time they graduate, they are really industry ready to be able to do. They are wanted by the industry in petroleum engineering.
Yes.
And we have signed a memorandum of understanding in that field now. Similarly, we've gone to Nauras, and we sit down with them and said we're about to sign an agreement with them on that we would like to see you as being a big brother of our program in telecommunication engineering, where you could really help in identifying what are the key skills required for telecommunication engineering, which will allow the student, by the time they graduate, the industry really wish to have those type of graduates. So that's what we do, what we can do.
That's great news. That's great news, and it's always appreciated when there is an extra mile that will help the students in choosing their careers. Now, Professor Ahmed, it's a big dilemma for the parents when it comes to graduation of their children from high school. The choice is whether to go locally or internationally. It's always a debate between family members whether we should send our child abroad or whether they should study locally. And is there specification or requirement that the parents have to look at before deciding where to send their child?
Well, of course, I will support. I'm part of the institutions, local institutions, and I would say that one needs to look at the local institutions to some level before looking for international. But my own decision was, I would not wish, although my son would have been able to go to get scholarship to go and study abroad, I didn't want him to go to study abroad because I found him to be very much not self-driven.
Yes.
He needs me to push him in this, he needs me to push him to do this, and so on and so forth. As a result, I don't think he'll be able to drive his life and set up the priorities in life to be able to do well in his studies alone in a foreign country. So that's one one thing a parent need to study about this child first. If the student can be self-driven and so on and so forth, then you could look for the opportunities abroad. But if he's not self-driven, he's not self-confident to be able to do things by themselves, and so on and so forth, it will not probably make them achieve good marks outside in comparison achieving good grades locally.
I've heard this, exactly what you have said, from many parents who now don't wish to send their children abroad, and they feel that their children don't have the, the confidence to live abroad alone, and they're always, spoon-fed. But for the sake of argument, some parents feel that, no, if I send them outside or abroad, they will build it up. They don't have a choice. There is no dad and mom there to take care of them, and they'll have to cook and clean and work part-time and study and do the laundry, and it will make them into a good person, and it will mold them into the person that the parents are wishing for. Do you agree with that?
I agree in a sense, just with the theory that if you throw a child into the water, it will learn. The child will learn how to swim. By herself. You don't need to teach. But I wouldn't throw my son in water. Just let him to drown and see whether he is going to learn or not. You better train them before you throw them in such kind of surrounding.
Yes.
And you better measure them before you do. Because also, by the way, the chances of being successful while you're not confident and you're not sure and you're not self-driven kind of person in such kind of surrounding is much harder than being successful in your own environment.
Yes.
You could also, by the way, the best attitude would be you send your son for undergraduate locally and send your son for postgraduate studies outside.
I found some families, they make a deal with their son or daughter, and they tell them that you're going to a local college for the first few years, and if you prove that you are competent and you're good and you're trustworthy and you can take responsibility, then we promise you that for further studies we'll send you abroad and give you the opportunity to have a taste of it. And some of them really work hard and just to get that opportunity for freedom, they would say, but at the same time a learning curve for the students. Now,
by the way, we have a lot of students like that at the modern college who study for 2 years in modern college, and then they would move to another 2 years in University of Missouri, St. Louis.
Oh, the program is there.
The program is there. Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the program. What is the outcome of this program? Do you have students who've graduated and who've done well?
They've done excellently, and they are doing very well in the community and so on. And some of them are in our website. They are doing very well. By the way, not only doing well, they went to the surprise of the people in Amsterdam, because we wanted to know the report of our guys, our students which were sending there. The report was showing that they are above the average of the students, American students.
Alhamdulillah, that's good news.
So that was
that's good news. Now, when it comes to the students in the college, Professor Ahmed, how's your interaction with them personally? Do they approach the academic staff if they have problems, if they have issues? Do they feel comfortable to come? Sometimes maybe parents are very busy at home and they don't have time for their children. But do students take that step and come to the administration and discuss decisions in their lives with you, or problems or challenges?
Yeah, we do get a lot of students coming to the office, and the most important thing is to keep your door open for them, and to make it as easily as possible for them to go through and come and see you. Once that's possible, and then the welcoming of them, because some of them are coming to complain.
Yes.
Some of them are coming wishing more service of this and that and that. They hardly do come to say something alternatively other than complaining.
I would like to hear the complaints. What sort of things are they complaining
The
about?
kind of complaints that this teacher failed me in this course and this teacher failed me in this course. And now what's very important is not to take that for granted that the teacher is right. Is to tell them, okay, fill the form here. I will follow up your case. And we're going to check everything to make sure that you have never been mistreated.
Yes.
And you show the student that she has not been mistreated.
Yes.
He or she has not been mistreated. And then they look at the program and see everything. They look at their exams, their tests and so on, and how they were calculated. And then the end point probably they're going to say, well, it's only 10 points less, and well, if
they negotiate with
they
you.
negotiate
Yeah.
and so on. But otherwise, and some of them, by the way, you do find that the teacher has got 1 or 2 points mistake or taken extra points here and there, and you need to stand up with the child, with the student on that case, yes, and support them. And by the way, to our surprise nowadays, I do get a lot of students coming to my office, not to complain, but to say that we need your support in doing this, because we do have a lot of student societies.
Yes.
And they
That is interesting.
They're doing talks, they're doing
Activities.
festivals, they're collecting funds for orphans and so on and so forth.
That's very good.
And
That's very
all
good.
of these, they're asking for my participation, either to go and give a lecture on those activities or to support them in sending letters for the sponsorship and so on. And that's wonderful. That brings the vibrant side of the youngsters into the community.
Do they approach you with new ideas and new methods that they feel that if they are applicable in the college, that will help the process of education? Do they come up with such ideas? Let's say change the timings or change the syllabus or do it in a particular way or change the exam?
No, we do have comments now and then about, Doctor, why do we have 2 exams in one day? I tell them, well, don't argue with me, because I used to take 3 exams in one day,
Yes.
final exams, and they're complaining about the quizzes or the midterms, 2 exams on the same day. So I just tell them to tolerate them and so on. So those kind of push do happen. They don't come and say that they want to change a particular course or particular. However, they would complain, for instance, a particular course covers 8 chapters or 20 chapters in some of them and so on. But then when you go and study, they're not talking about 20 whole chapters. They're covering some aspect of the chapters. And so on.
Okay.
So we need to push our students to take it as it goes sometimes.
You have
to work harder.
Professor, you have male and female students. In your point of view, which one of them do you think they are prospering more and more serious about their studies? Is it the males or the females, and or is it the same now?
To my surprise, the students who are finishing high school, females are doing better than boys. But once they get to university, boys tend to doing better than female, majority of the female. But it doesn't mean you don't get female student now and then overshining everybody else.
Yeah.
You do have that.
Oh, okay. Now we have a few minutes, last 10 minutes to wrap up today's show, Professor, and we want a piece of advice from you to the parents and to the youngsters.
I would like to say what's very important to impress in our youngsters is the need to build strong work ethics among the youngsters, which includes independence, ability to have self-drive, really push the youngsters to really work harder. Tardiness and timekeeping is very important. They need to understand the importance of being in the class in time. We have almost like 10% or 20 students, 10 to 20% students who always come late in the classrooms. This is unacceptable.
Do they get penalized in any way in their marks? Or?
We do. If they are over by some period of time, they're considered to be half absent or absent on the class. So the parents, this is one of the responsibility of the parents and the students to make sure that if you don't attend the class, probably most likely you have a chance of
Failing.
not succeeding in the class. Yeah. Also, something which is very important is the capability of youngsters to work in a team, to work as a group, and not only with your friends, but even other people outside of your group of friends group. And we're trying to instill this very much in the college by teaching them team working. Another point which is making students to be successful over the other students is capability of taking good notes in the classrooms. Another item which is critical is capability of taking some book and learn by yourself.
So not necessarily it's part of the syllabus, or the teacher told you, take the initiative, the extra mile
and
to
learn
go and
something
learn
else.
something else.
Yes. So this is one very important aspect. Of course, another issue which is very important is the community services. The students need to learn that they need to contribute to the community.
Yes.
They didn't get where they are just because of their mother and their father, because of the community, the country, the state, which has supported them to where they have reached, to wherever. So they need to make sure that they contribute to the community. And we're pushing this very much in the college to make sure that they do contribute in the college, in the college activities to the community. Yes.
And to instill in them the concept of citizenship. That you're responsible, you're part of this country, and you have to be loyal to this country, you have to give, you know the country has given a lot to you, and you have to give back and serve others.
Yes. Without them contributing, they definitely will not be, the country will not be successful. We also need to convince youngsters, young generation, hard working is rewarding in itself, not just sports. Sports, you can work hard and so on, and they can go home and they feel nice.
Yeah.
But even work hard, if you really work hard the whole day, you put a really good effort, you will also feel nice.
Yes.
This is part of being young and energetic.
And you have the energy.
Yes. Another important issue is we need the parents and the students to understand the choice of university and school should not be based on which one is easier and easy to get your certification, but where can you really learn and benefit. That's very important in a sense.
These are very, very valid points, Professor Ahmed. I would like just to share a few from my side. Is that when I was a student in the Far East, they used to come some students from mainland China, and they don't speak a single word of English. And in the first semester, you'd find them with all sorts of dictionaries, taking notes and trying to translate everything they study in the class. And by the end of the fourth year, they become the top.
They compete with you.
They compete. they become better than us, and they become the top in the university.
Yes.
And you're just amazed of their capabilities and how they've changed and coped and learned so fast because they're determined and they have a single goal. And then at the same time, when it came to the final year where all the big organizations visit the college or the university to come and choose the best students, they don't go for the marks only, they go for the character. And this is something which is very, very important. You mentioned earlier about the attitude and the value and the moral. Yes. Is that it's now, especially in this time, morals, ethics, attitude, your personality speaks out louder than your marks.
For your success. You're not going to be successful if you don't have them.
I remember one of the times we had an interview in our company, and we were interviewing a student who was a straight A student, and he came to the interview late. And then when he sat, he did not apologize for coming late, and he said, "Come on, let us start the interview." And then we started asking the questions, and then he suddenly his phone rang, and he started talking on the phone, as if the people who were sitting on the table, they don't exist. And when he finished, he said, I'm actually very busy and I don't have time. Just tell me what is the package you're offering. And our response was very, very simple, and we said that, sorry, Your Highness, it seems that we have disturbed you today and you have more important things to do than this job. I think we can let you go and go and find somewhere else to
That's right.
that can employ you. So attitude is also, I think, is very, very
And
important.
it can show easily in the interviews.
Yeah, the
You cannot hide
first
it. You
few
cannot
minutes,
hide it.
then
Yes.
it's a determination of who you are.
Yes, yes.
Professor Ahmed bin Muhammad Al-Nu'mani, Dean of the Modern College of Business and Science, thank you very much for enlightening us today, and I hope our audience have enjoyed today's topic. I hope to get more chances with you in the show, inshallah, in the coming future. And I just can't say much except thank you for sparing your time.
Thank you very much. I'm thankful for you giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Dear listeners, I'm your host Hatim Al-Absalam. So, signing off for today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And we know we'll be here forever. The feeling is indescribable, knowing that this is our